Hi, welcome to episode 2. This is about the condition of the deck when I got the boat and what I've done to it so far. First thing I did, I went up to Harbor Freight, bought a nylon mallet to be able to test out all the soft spots, all the hollow sounding spots, all the spots that turned out to be delamination. One tip I will give, and it may be more of a is I used blue duct tape to mark out all the areas on the deck instead of masking tape. Use masking tape. This duct tape is a pain in the ass to get up. The reason I mean I knew that when I did it, but I didn't know it was as bad as it was. I ended up having some of it up, but I did it on purpose because the boat was not under cover at the time. It was exposed to the elements, and I thought the duct tape would wash off with the rain. So I think lesson learned there. Now, using the mallet, I was able to really identify quite well the spots that had delamination, had rotten coring, and I'll get into that in this video a little bit. But by the time I got to the back of the boat, having opened up several sections of the decking, I can now recognize pretty clearly when something is rotten coring or delamination, or there's one third possibility that I didn't even think of. For instance, there's a spot right here that I was going to open up because I pushed down on it and I get this creak, and I'm thinking, okay, delamination. It's a real obvious noise. But let's go below. When I come down below here, I found right under that spot this whole piece is loose here, and when I shim it so that this doesn't move, what do you know, the sound goes away up on the deck. So the deck is fine. I mean, there's a little bit of movement to the deck, but that's just the deck. That's just movement. That's not delamination. That's not bad coring. It's just, that's how thick the deck is, and that span moves it enough to make this rattle. So keep an eye out for that. Now, one question I got was, where'd the beard go? So I usually have a beard. Early on when I was working on this, an N95 mask with the beard, cutting off the top layer of the skin, cutting through the gel coat, that was fine. Once I started laying down fresh epoxy and then sanding that and creating epoxy dust from the sander, I really wanted my respirator to fit properly, because you don't want to be screwing around with inhaling that stuff. So this is actually laying the epoxy as well. These are organic vapor cartridges as well as a HEPA filter. So that's why the clean shave. It'll come back when I'm done with this nonsense. I hate being clean shaven. So that said, let's get into the video. Let's see what this looked like when I first got it. This will be the first spot I try. Alright, I test cut a couple of pieces, and I open this up, and it really doesn't look bad. A little bit of rot here, but it's not. It's hard, so it must have gotten wet at one point, dried out. This looks like a gap. See, these pieces of balsa are going this way. These pieces are at an angle here, so this is where the joint is, and I think this is right from the factory. Since that was rotten, I cut a little more. Goes to another joint. This seems okay, and it's just a little. I mean, I could cut it out, but I could cut it out just like balsa would. Another little bit here, but when I pound this, it's pretty solid. I don't think I'm going to worry about it. And there's another spot over here. Same thing. When I pounded on it, there was this hollow sounding spot here, and there's a crack. So I cut this open, and it's beautiful. The only thing is, it's not flush. It's not a real smooth surface under here, so I think there was just a little bit of a gap here, and at one point in the history of the boat something landed there and caused that and broke away, and so that's what I've done so far. I'm about to try something in the back. Let me go find it. Okay, now this is the one that's confusing me the most so far. Early on when I was deciding how I was going to approach doing this, I just was thinking originally on how I was going to get rid of the non-skid. So up here I took a belt sander and just tried to knock this down to see how far I had to go, and I knew I had this soft spot over here. This was a real soft spot, and so I took the belt sander to it a little bit, and I had just the right or wrong angle, whichever way you want to look at it, and went right through the top coat of the fiberglass. And when I pushed down on it, water came out, so I knew the core was soaked here. So I was curious to see how bad it is, and so I cut this out and popped it off, and it looks beautiful. It's not even wet anymore. I mean, it's hard as a rock, and it's not wet. This is not a concern. I mean, I wouldn't do anything to this when I patch this back up again. It's solid and it's dry. Now I'm wondering how the rest of the boat is. If that was clearly wet, I'm curious as to how bad everything really is now that I've had it. Well, let me back up here. Had it under cover. It's going on 2 years now. It's been under cover and out of the weather. So let me move to the next spot. This morning I'm going to take this apart and see what we got. I mean, I know there's leaks in here. When there was no cover on this and it was raining, there was water coming in through these, even though I had them covered up with duct tape here too, so it wasn't just going through the holes. Today I'm going to pull this off. Got a little screwdriver to pull these guys off and just see what we got going on. As you can see, I outlined in blue where my mallet had told me there was loose laminate. I'm hopeful that the wood underneath is in good condition, like I run across in a couple other spots, like right up here. I mean, that was loose, but when I pulled it off, it was just a gap from the original construction, not necessarily water getting in. So here goes. Got these out. Looking in here. Got it out inside. Wet. definitely here. This seems okay here. This is a little wet here. Let's go over here a little bit. I don't know how I'm going to tab this. Come up or something when I glass it. But I knew this was all the area originally. Alright, this is where it clearly was leaking. I mean, I saw it leaking around the hatch here. So when I tap on it and I nail it, that is this guy comes off. Wondering the condition of the plywood. Doesn't seem to be any. That answers that question. Wow. Surprised me put my foot right through there. Yeah. Okay, so that was the condition of the deck when I first got the boat. Future videos will show more of how I got to where I am right now, which is completely faired, the entire top of the deck. So we'll get there. You'll catch up to me pretty quickly, I think, especially over the winter, because I'm not going to be doing much work on this over the winter. Thank you. Please like. I'd appreciate it. That helps with the YouTube algorithm somehow. Subscribe if you can. I don't know what any of that does, but supposedly that helps because it tailors it to other folks that are interested in the DIY boat rebuild. Gonna include some footage at the very end. Local Rochester sailing scene. My wife and I went for a walk along the mouth of the Genesee River yesterday out to Lake Ontario. A lot of sailboats coming out. Hope you enjoy. Bye. What Lake Ontario looks like in the summer. Lots of sailboats. Genesee River. Sherman Beach. A bunch of marinas up the river there. About 6 o'clock on a late August night. A bunch of boats going out. I don't know if there's a race or not. Here we are back walking on the pier at the mouth of the Genesee River, Lake Ontario, Canada, out of range. All the boats coming out, 6 o'clock at night. Maybe there's a local club race. There's our future first mate. So I don't know if there's a race or just everybody's saying there's a nice breeze tonight. Somebody's still in their dress clothes. Nice night for a sail. Good strong breeze, but not. I mean, there's no small Small boat warning or anything. Oh, there's a slick boat. That's a sharp looking thing there. That's the name of the boat. I don't know what model it is, but pure waterline. 2 sets of spreaders. Couple more coming.
Oh, you just got a good wind.
C30, so it's a Catalina 30. That's what your buddy has.
I think it's him, actually. It looks like him on the back.
Little
Hey,
wing.
Tom!
See if it's his